Hey, I'm Grant, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Digression Bar. I'm joined by
Andrew.
So we have a new setup this week. I have this sectional. It's a 3-part sectional that comes apart. And ever since I got it, it was technically broken. There was one of these support beams in that piece off camera, basically back behind here, that was never attached, and it was just leaning.
Yep.
So I got Nebraska Furniture Mart to fix it. They did it for free because, I don't know, it was either under warranty or they would just cover it. And since I was having a third of my couch missing, I took the time to just kind of rethink my layout, and this one's way better.
Yep.
Essentially, we took my sectional and we just exploded it. You know what I mean? Everything's expanded, just not connected. So now there's walkways and stuff, and it's way more accessible. And I always used to do this in my dorm. Every month or month and a half, I would just rearrange my dorm in college. Right? It's I want the bed over there. And then by the end of the year, it was a pain in the ass every time, but by the end of the year, you knew you had the best arrangement. I know my third year when I was living in my fraternity house, I had several setups, and then I finally found the one where it turned out my bed would fit in this perfect little slot for it, but it was by a millimeter.
Damn.
So you had to put it in and basically reconstruct the bed. You couldn't slide it in. You had to go put the post, lower the frame in between them, and kind of scrape it in. But once you did it, everything made so much more sense.
How was taking it out after?
Well, I didn't have to do that because I could just leave the bed there. So, and I think it's still there to this day.
So the guy's just yeah, I'm not going to move this.
Well, it is the best arrangement. It's the best spot for it. Because otherwise, the issue was the room was almost laid out in an H. Or think of it so it had a rectangle and then it had two outlets where there were windows.
What about closet, too?
We'll get to it. That was on the far left side.
Okay.
And I got it in between essentially where a vent was and the right window outlet. And then in between the window outlets was a slanted wall, which is also relevant. So it was just annoying because if you put it on the left outlet, what is it called? A windowlet? I don't know. If you put it in the left window, then you block the closet. But that gives you the most room for the bed. And I didn't think you could put it on the right because you had to wedge it in because there was a vent that it seemed came in too far where you were just 2 inches too short. That's what I thought. And then I actually finally measured everything. It's I think I can do this. So on a 3-day weekend, I'm I'm just going to shove everything over on the left side. I'm going to take apart my bed and I'm going to put it there, and it worked.
That's nice. And by the way, I think the word you were looking for is windowsill.
Windows. Well, it's not the sill. It's I don't know, almost a small little tunnel to the window. So it's there's the wall, and then there's 2.5 feet, and then the window. So I don't know how to describe it on that. And actually, it was kind of cool because, I said, it was in my fraternity house. The reason I had the idea was there was a guy who stayed there when he was in college, and now his son was, and he's oh, that's where I put my bed. And it's the same bed, or the same beds. I don't know if it's the exact same one. It's oh, I should try that.
See, well, there you go. Someone might move the bed.
Someone might, yeah. Sometime in the last 20 years, someone moved the bed out. Maybe it was to do it. I think we recarpeted though, or repainted, and that's why it got moved out. I don't know, but I would always do it. I got super into I'm just gonna change everything up, and Jamie hates it because she's I just wanna watch TV, and you're it's 9 p.m. and you're let's move fucking couches, let's move the desks. I remember there was literally one time it was 11 o'clock at night, and I'm gonna move my futon, and she's why are you gonna move your futon right now? It's and it was cool. I found out my futon folded in half. Did not know that. For the whole time, I'd always keep it fully folded up, and it turns out you could I don't know, it's split it and fold it into an L. Not this. No, it's gone. That's broken.
Okay.
You probably never saw that futon because it was only 2 years in college, and then it broke.
Oh, you're talking about you did that then?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about doing that now.
That was my sectional. But it blew my mind because that's the reason I was so obsessed with it at 11 o'clock at night was I was getting something behind the couch. I was why does my couch have a hinge on it? What? That's obviously, there's a reason that is there. And I'm going to find out what that reason is. And Jay's I just want to go to bed, but we can't because it's a dorm. So it's one room and I'm moving a couch in it. So yeah, that was the whole spiel. So first off, angry rant that we were talking about, I'm going to put probably the outro video for this is, so one of the worst things about the podcast, not the worst, but is you build up so much static, setting it up because you're constantly getting up and down off the couches, moving a bunch of shit, or you're sliding across the couch, reach and turn on a light. And I've learned this mainly now because it's the winter and the air's dry, there's like no good spot where I can discharge in my apartment.
Yep.
Yeah, like these lights don't work. There's nothing in the kitchen. Like the stove doesn't work. I almost want like I'm tempted just to see if I could leave my like panel open to like my surge protector and if something on there would work. Because it's annoying. Like you're just charged up. Like I can feel it, but unless there's like
standing on that.
Yeah, unless there's like someone else here, or I don't know. I think like unless I take like a shower, I can't discharge it.
Touch mic.
I feel
I keep on shocking myself on the mic.
Is that it? I don't know. But is that because the cameras are turned on? Like, I'll have to see. There's got to be a way. I need a ground. I need to find something so that when I keep getting like literally like statically charged, I can go over and touch it because it's annoying. And you can just feel like when you're like statically charged for like 30 minutes, it's just annoying. And like I can't go anywhere. And the podcast is the worst because it's just like I know I'm gonna shock something, and we go up and touch the camera. It's like, God damn it!
Just touch the mic. That's what I've been doing.
Well, mine's plastic. You have a fancy metal one or
touch the base part.
Maybe I'm discharged now. I don't know. We definitely like as soon as I called it out, we shocked ourselves like 4 times.
Yeah. Like, damn it, Grant.
It was like, God damn. So
Here, touch my finger.
let's see. Okay, there we go.
We're good.
That or we are both on the same level now. We're both like equally
exactly the
charged.
same static charge.
Well, we are because we touched now, so we definitely are. Equilibrium, right?
Right, but if we didn't get shocked before that, or during that, that means we were before as well.
First out, I'm gonna do a shout out. Shout out to the guy who watched like all my Dead Rising videos and counted every time I said essentially.
What?
Yeah, and he's like 200. And then it was like he did it on the one which was I did a stream where I beat Dead Rising 1 using only the martial arts moves. So like no guns, no weapons, and essentially just turned into a stream of can I beat all the psychopaths with martial arts because they're the only hard ones. Mm-hmm. Zombies are irrelevant. Let me tell you, Cletus, fucking asshole. The dude in the gun shop,
Yeah.
he was a challenge.
Does he have...
He's bullshit.
He blows you away if you get too
He blows you away. 2, the counter is just high enough where it will interrupt any move. So the only way you can actually hurt him is if you hit X like right as you land. But it's because you're like jumping up on it. It's not like, oh, you're coming down, hit X. It's like pixel perfect. 2, the reason you have to do that, or I don't know, I don't even know what number I'm on. 2, if you get behind the counter, his like grab range is ridiculously long compared to like how long your attacks are. So it doesn't matter. He's going to grab you no matter what you do.
and throw you away.
Yeah. And every single attack he does pushes you back towards the door. So it's just like, it was an exercise. It was like an hour easily. Just that of me like fighting Cletus. And it's like, yeah, I did 1/50th of his health with my kick. And then I would go fully heal because I had to. It was a whole thing. But I think I said essentially, I think it was something like 243 times in that entire one. Because I have like what are they called? Like, I don't know, a crutch. Word crutch. You know, like we say like so or like words that make you say pause. And I always say in the
word.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I always say so in the podcast. Like that's the thing you can like call out is I'll be like, so anyway, because that's like my way of like starting it anyway. Yeah, whatever. And I just deleted my list. Hold up.
Wait, what?
I had a list of stuff to do and I think I just deleted it.
How? How do you do that?
Oh, wait.
By accident? Did you just start a new one by accident?
I don't fully understand how this works.
I don't know tablets.
Yeah. It's not even a tablet, it's just my workflow thing. Anyway.
So you found it.
Yeah, I got it back.
So you didn't.
I need to put this down. That's what I need to do. I need to put this down. What were we talking about? Dead Rising. Oh yeah, essentially. Yep. Anyway, essentially. So when I stream or when I record gameplay, the word I always go for is essentially, because I'll be saying something like, "This is how this works." Oh God, I'm interrupted. Anyway, essentially, this is what I was going to say, and then I just do that over and over because when you keep getting shot in the face, I keep having to restart my sentences, and it's so obvious when you like listen back to it. But at the time, like I totally don't notice it, but I hate it because it's like, dude, I feel you. Like every time I say so in the podcast, I'm like, come on, man, you're better than this. So what's up with you?
Not much.
Not much.
School.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So have you ever used Discord before? We use that
Not
for a D&D
before you started it with D&D.
All right. So every time I see you all the time log on to Steam and you're playing a game, what is it Danganronpa?
Danganronpa.
What is that? Because I feel like that's something I've heard of, but I was like, I have no idea. And I haven't looked it up yet.
Okay. So imagine it's a bunch of like weird but oddly talented high schoolers for whatever reason. They're locked inside the school that they're completely trapped in, and there is this maniacal, demonic, like, bear that says, like, okay, so you're gonna be trapped in here for the rest of your life. You so like there's nothing you can do about that. If you just he surveils everything with like cameras, so like you can't do all these, like he has a bunch of these rules. Oh, also, if the only way you can leave is if you kill someone and get away with it, as in if you kill someone and they by a majority vote in a trial can figure out it's you or not. And if they don't choose who's the correct person, everyone else gets killed. But if they do choose the correct person, only the murderer gets killed.
And so only one person can get out, right?
Yes. Okay. That's the thing. Now it's so essentially it's like a weird Japanese Clue.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Because like after a murder happens, you have to investigate.
Is it like
the crime scene and figure out people's motives?
What's the gameplay like then?
It's kind of like a visual novel during parts. Like a lot of it's weird. Like there are two main parts essentially. Like sort of like someone's like, oh, a relationship simulator where you're like, oh, go make friends with people. It's really weird because in the second one, there's a different set of circumstances, but it's like when you get to like the max relationship with the person, you get their undergarments for both the guys and the girls. It's kind of weird.
That's a little weird. So how did you start playing it?
Because they made an anime of the first season or the first game.
It does sound like it would be a show. If you told me that plot, I would have guessed it was a show.
Well, it translated very well to the show.
Well, I guess it's visual novel, right?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a visual novel.
I picture it as like a RPG maker games. Like you ever see like stuff like that? That's how I picture it, where it's like a lot of dialogue with backgrounds, but then you do actually go around and you can like interact with stuff.
Yes, like you can. There are places where you walk around and stuff like that. You talk to people. There's also the thing where you. So how you get in a relationship with people, you can go talk to them, hang out, but also you find coins throughout the thing, and then there's a weird like one-armed bandit essentially that you get random potential gifts, and depending on what you give someone, it could be something to either increase your relationship or they really don't like it.
Okay. I just mean like I wanted to go in and like ask you about it because it's just like I've never heard him talk about it, but I see you playing it all the time. Well, and maybe it's just you play it in very small amounts, just occasionally.
Well, it's sometimes also like I'll start playing it, and there are times like when you get to a trial, like it's really hard to like get into the. It'd be a whole thing to try to explain how you do the trials. Okay. But someone's like, I don't want to restart it. Like, I don't want to turn it on and be at this point. So I'm just going to close my laptop and just walk away for a while. So it's like I just leave the game running for prolonged periods of time. So that's also kind of it. Okay. I'm just playing Resident Evil 4, which is a blast. I'm recording it for the channel. I'm doing this new process where I record it instead of with Dead Rising Chopsy Drop, the last one I did, I would record like an hour, and then I would just take that hour and I would make whatever I could out of it. So sometimes it's like it's the full hour because it was all really interesting, or sometimes it's like there's like 20 minutes because it was a lot of backtracking. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I just record giant chunks, and then I edit essentially just if it ends up being 20 hours, let's say, because I think it's a decently long game. I essentially have a 20-hour video file, and then I just chop that up in post. And that makes up the episode. So there's no like me sitting down doing the intro, recording for whatever, and then having to like cut a whole bunch or not cut a whole bunch. So I'm trying that, and that's my goal, and also just improve on the speed of my editing, which is a big thing. Because especially for like today, like it is Thursday, so if you're watching this on Friday, I have stayed up to get this out. So yeah, that's gonna be a whole thing. So, but let me tell you, I really like Resident Evil 4 so far. It's fun, and I don't think it's that scary, but there's definitely some moments that are just like, fuck. I don't even know how to describe it. So I was in a village. I'm playing Leon, freaking like action hero, edgy wannabe dude. And I'm like, oh, people are trying to kill me. So I'm shooting them in the face. They're like zombies, but not. Fun fact. One of the characters in Danganronpa's name is Leon. Maybe they ripped it off. Nope. No. But I'm shooting just randomly in the middle of town. I'm going to shoot one guy in the head. Oh, your head exploded into a bunch of tentacles. That's something that I have to deal with now. And it's a really fun game. I like it. I love like the PS1 and 64 era
survival horror, or like PS2 era, like all those, like Silent Hill, love it. Resident Evil, definitely liking it. Even like Dead Space, I love everything like that. Amnesia, that's not the same time period, but
I was gonna say like same thing with Dead Space. I'm like,
I really like Dead Space.
yeah, but
it's going downhill apparently.
That's 360 though, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely not PS2.
It feels like the same era. I guess like I just say that because a lot of ones came out at that time, because that's when Silent Hill and Resident Evil and even Dead Rising I kind of group in there. That's like early Xbox. They're all the same style.
Was Resident Evil not Resident Evil? I'm sorry, Dead Rising a launch title?
It came out like a couple of months after the 360, if I recall. So, still waiting on the Dead Rising Chopped Drops Nintendo Switch version. So, if that comes out, I'll buy one.
And
they have a Nintendo Dead Rising. They could do it.
Yeah,
it would be really out of left field. But if they made like a Dead Rising 2 Chopped Drop on the Switch, I would buy it on principle, just because like fuck, clearly this is going to be worth it.
I'm going to be going out of town Wednesday for Thanksgiving with my dad and be around some of my family members. So I'm really tempted to go get my birthday present and have that be a Wii and play fucking Zelda.
Are we Nintendo Switch?
Yeah.
I thought of that because it's like, on one hand, I don't necessarily want to buy. If I was going to buy another console, I would buy a PlayStation, which I actually wouldn't mind anyway. But at the same time, I like a lot of Nintendo's games. It just never quite feels worth it to get their console. Or like for me, like I don't have any games on my phone because I would never have a point in my life where I would actually play a mobile game. So I feel like if I got the Switch, I wouldn't use that main function of like taking it somewhere. So, but I could see how like if you're going out of town, that'd be perfect for you. But I do want to play Breath of the Wild. So
yeah, like I don't think I've heard any negative things about that game. Yeah, I think that the biggest gripe I've heard people have is just that it seems like a lot of the weapons just break too fast.
Mm-hmm. I could see that. I know, because it sounds like it wants to be kind of like stuff degrades, go find a new one. Mm-hmm. But
you don't just find the Uber and just keep that with you the entire time.
Yeah, it's more. I can reference this. It's more bigger on sword, not giant's knife. Am I right? Ocarina of Time. What? In Ocarina of Time, the best sword, the strongest sword that wasn't the Master Sword was the Bigoron's sword, which is the giant Goron's.
But didn't break in.
No, it didn't. Then you had the shitty one that did break. And it was yeah. You could get a version of it early on that did break.
Okay.
And then if you kept going and did this really long quest, you got the version that didn't break.
And it's not the one step below Master Sword?
No, it's stronger than the Master Sword. But the Master Sword has like unique properties. Like the Master Sword can reflect stuff.
That's
like
right.
Burning Ganon, but the other one can't. But you should really watch some Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time speedruns. It's fascinating. I'm going to get way into this, but like it's weird. Like the way they coded that, I guess, is that it's not that the Master Sword can have the reflect property, but rather the Bigoron Sword's the only item that doesn't. So when they go like fight Ganon with like the real reflect tennis thing, like you do in like Twilight Princess, they use a bottle because that like takes the longest animation and it reflects the entire time. So Link's like, bottle? Oh, I didn't catch anything, but it like reflects the ball back at Ganon. It's just so silly. I really recommend it. You would love to watch it.
So you could just use anything.
Yeah, Deku Stick works. They use Deku Stick a lot for that exact purpose. Is just using like it's better than your sword. It's fascinating. Same with like Twilight Princess.
Who do you think like figured that out?
They have that game down to like it's so ridiculously optimized. Like I don't know how they figure out some things. Like one of the biggest tenets was it
because I assume they didn't data mine to figure stuff out.
I think they have now that they've gone through and just like checked actual values, because you have an emulator, it saves all the stuff. You can see everything being processed, and I imagine it's a system that's fairly straightforward. Like if you go get like a emulator for a Game Boy Color, it has like 8 registers. So like that's where it stores its numbers that it does operations on, like when the CPU is using them. So it's very obvious, like, oh, that's 8. That's obviously my lives. You know, oh, like that's a 9. That's obviously my coins in Mario or something. So I think it's fairly simple. It's like, oh, you can kind of just like reverse engineer it. But yeah, there's some things where it's like, how? But the answer is usually just like, oh, someone was doing stuff and it just randomly occurred, and they're like, we need to figure out why that was a thing, and then you just keep doing it, and if you're like, oh, this is what triggers it, it's fascinating. Like What if you ever watch an SGDQ, Summer Games Done Quick or Awesome Games Done Quick? There's a running joke is just like how many games have stuff like I played this for like 1,000 hours, and then they go on the marathon. It's like that has never happened before. Like it's amazing. And it's like I don't know what's going on. I just went through a wall. I've done this 1,000 times, but
I was like they glitched through a wall. Like this has ruined my run. Like that's it. Like it's dead.
Well, or it goes like way more. Like there's a huge tangent, but in Super Mario 64, someone has a $1,000 bounty to recreate a bug. So Super Mario 64, one of the first 3D games, especially one that's very heavy into jumping because it's a Mario game. So it has these weird little gimmicks. Like we watched the video of the beating rolling rocks in 3A presses or whatever, and it's like you gotta build up speed to go through the parallel universes. You know, like that whole thing.
Basically going faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, I think that might be the guy that has the bounty on it because he's into it that much. But essentially, it was a glitch where on the clock level, if some guy was just doing a very low level speed run, like not that bad, he like jumped at a platform in a certain way where Mario glitched all the way to the top of the level, saving like a ridiculous amount of time. And I was like, that's huge. We need to figure out how to do that again. But it's so bad because like they have so much video evidence and they've recreated every like little environment, like to the point of just like setting up values in the emulator, and they just can't do it. So they're wondering, it's like is it just the N64 he was running on was like being weird? Was it like some gimmick with his computer? Like what was it? All they have is this one video, and it's a big deal. I don't know.
What if modded it?
I don't think he did, because that was the thing. It's like it would have been obvious, I think, because they've chewed it apart so much, especially for him to mod it in like that specific way. Yeah. I watched another great video I should send you. That was a guy who did this great video that was all about the science of like exposing cheaters and speedruns. So he would like watch, say, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time speedruns, and he'd have all these variables he would track to see if they like edited their footage. So little stuff like he would know like the starting point of the cursor on the Ocarina of Time menu screens based off where you like last left off, because it would change. So if he opened up the menu at like 10 minutes in, and then he opens up the menu again like 2 hours later, if they didn't match up, he must have edited his footage at some point. And it had all these like really tiny variables, like that's not right. If he's only been to Clocktown once, that person doesn't spawn there. And it was like fascinating that this dude was so specific about like this one thing that he did. He just knew basically the entire state of the game at any point it could be in. It was cool.
But what if he wasn't taking into account that there's something that happens? He just never encountered it before.
That it had that potential. And he didn't say he was infallible. He just said he was good at catching people.
Like what it was? Can you think of an example that you were talking about? Like someone played a game like for 1,000 hours, and all of a sudden, I don't know what that was. That's not normal.
There's a ton if you watch AGDQ. I'm sure there's like a compilation everywhere. I'm trying to think what there was. Or like there's some where it's just like
any Final Fantasy ones.
I bet there must have been one during that Final Fantasy 7 run I sent you. Or like sometimes you run into a situation where it's like, sorry, the game just decided no. Like there's a really good one I think at AGDQ, I think 2 years ago, where they play this like super terrible Animorphs game for the SNES, and it's just RNG the game, and it's just basically 2 hours of him getting floored, and just like he crit and one shot me again for the 5th time in a row, and it's just like it's brutal. And it's like sometimes the game's just like fuck you.
And this is an Animorph game.
You go and you like collect the animals, and it's a terrible game. But that was the fun of playing it. It's just like sometimes the game just fucks you. Sometimes you don't even need to hit A. You just kind of go.
What do you mean you don't need to hit A?
Like the enemy just kills itself.
Oh,
or like because I don't know. Like say if you have an ability like they reflect damage. Like sometimes it's like they just die or they run away. The game's like just super weird.
I didn't think Animorphs was that violent.
We can watch some speed runs sometime. Animorphs is violent. They have like slugs that like crawl into your brain. That's violent.
Kill you that way?
They control your body.
That's not violent.
I read Animorphs as a kid. I know about that.
That reminds
me. I never read the ending.
That sounds more like Star Trek to me.
A little bit. Yeah. There's like 40 Animorphs books and a TV series. Did you know that?
I was semi-familiar that there was a little bit of a TV series. 40 books? I mean, I'm sure they're not.
They're like that big, and they also like I guess the author just had a ton of ghostwriters, so it's just like this book features these characters. Here's the plot. This happens. Here's the points you need to talk about that because they lead into the rest of the series. Go nuts. I'll read the end. And I think it was something like they had like several ghostwriters working under them, and that's why it's just like so prolific. It's like there's like here's all these books.
So how many like retcons do they have? Like how many things are not congruent?
I don't think they have that many because it's rather than having a retcon, they just have a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter. I think.
I guess.
Or just like spin-offs. Like, here's this one story of how they did this animal, and we're not going to talk about it again. You know, that kind of thing.
So if you're an Animorph, you can Animorph into multiple animals?
You like go around and you have to touch an animal, and you can like unlock it, and then you can become that animal.
Are we talking about the game or in the canon?
The canon. In the game, I think what it was is
I meant canon.
It's like Final Fantasy where you go around like and you like make a party of people.
But
Almost like no, it's like Pokemon, I think, where you like switch between the animals and they all have their own health.
Interesting. But you said like you touch it and then you unlock it. How do you unlock it? Like you touch it and you just have it, or you have to like?
Are you talking about in the game?
I'm talking about in the story.
No, they just have to touch it.
You touch it and I can transform.
It stuns it and then you can transform it. But then the catch is when you first transform into it, you can't necessarily control it because you're basically going like feral. So that's always a big thing. It's like, I got a tiger. So now where can I go to try it out without like killing someone
or destroying something?
Or I think there is like one book where one of them turns into a fly and they just fly away. It's like, well, good luck wherever you went.
Were they okay?
Yeah, of course they're okay. I don't think anyone dies.
Okay.
We talked about this on another podcast, in the test podcast. The worst is like, I think one guy permanently turns into a hawk. And even then later, he gets like an out where he gets his powers back. But then instead of having to go back into a human, he has to go back into a hawk every hour.
Or like it just happens. Like, is it a criteria? Or...
No, if you don't go back, then you're stuck. That's how he got stuck as a hawk. He spent too long.
Right, but then you're saying he has to turn back into a hawk every hour. So does he forcibly get turned into a hawk? Or what happens if he decides not to turn into a hawk?
I don't know. Well, he would be stuck as whatever he is. But then he can also definitely transform back into being a human, because they clearly did that for writing purposes. So it seems like if you had to do it, you might as well transform back into being a human. I don't know. Again, I didn't read that into it. I just know what I read, and then what I read on Wikipedia like 8 years later.
What about what about sleeping though?
I don't think they've ever tried to sleep as an animal.
Right, but you're saying that he has to transform back into an animal or the hawk every hour, right? So if he's sleeping, does he just sleep as a hawk the entire time?
I don't think he can sleep. I don't think you could sleep. I don't know.
So he would die.
I don't think the Animorphs canon is this tight. So I think it just kind of is what it needs to be. Again, I don't even know if there's an end. I think it just kind of goes on and they just stop making books.
Okay.
I think it's just like kind of like, and then it went. So, yeah.
And they're still out there to this day.
Still out there to this day. That's my guess. And the show definitely ended because the show sucked, is my understanding.
It was a kid's show though, right?
Yeah.
So probably.
I feel like it'd also be like expensive to make compared to like a lot of other stuff that was on the same par. So that would make sense that it didn't last very long. So, Andrew, how do you feel about D&D? We've been playing D&D on Sundays over Roll20 and Discord.
It's fun. I still don't know how my luck transfers over, but you know.
I'd say exactly, because you roll terrible online, you roll terrible in person.
So I don't know.
I'd say it's better on Roll20. Oh, how it transfers.
Yeah.
I'd say it does better on Roll20, because I feel like you haven't had
I feel like
anything.
I've crit a few more times than usual.
You saved everyone's life with a critical hit.
That one time.
Yeah.
I still went down. Mm-hmm. I gave them enough time to be able to get up again.
It's weird transitioning to Roll20 with just everything's electronic. So now I can search all the source material, but then I also have like 40 windows open trying to like reference something. So it's been fun. We've had tons of little shenanigans. I like it when we go back to town and then that's like, this is only like loosely canon what happens. So you guys just have fun. Because I feel like that's kind of the fun of D&D is just like, let's kind of mess around a little bit. Let's not do heavy dungeon crawl the entire time.
Right.
So.
I don't know. Pobo,
the hobo?
Pobo. But if he lives there, he's not a hobo.
Well, he doesn't necessarily live there. He has a room. Maybe he chooses... The hobo life chooses him. That's why he was out. He's got to go embrace his character. He's a method actor.
I thought he was on vacation.
Yeah. And he enjoys hoboing.
He enjoys hoboing. Okay.
Can you be a hobo if trains don't exist in that universe? Is it necessary to have a train to be a hobo?
I don't think so.
Is hobo short for something? Please tell us in the comments if hobo... What is the etymological origin of hobo? Hobo sapien. That's totally going to be a thing. He's going to be described like... I could do like a science text. You open it's like Pobo sapien. And it's just like his specific brand of human. You can do a whole thing. I have all these ideas for that character. All the best ideas.
Did you come up with him on the spot?
Yeah, I came up with him because I saw this giant fat like token of a guy. I'm like, clearly that guy needs to be dancing in this bar right now. And then it was Pobo the hobo was born. I don't know why his name is Pobo. I don't know why he's a hobo, but that may be explored in future adventures.
Okay, answer me. Why is the patron of the inn named Toblerone?
So
I
that's
can never say the word Toblerone.
He's not named Toblerone specifically. He's named like I don't actually know what it is, but we're playing The Lost Mines of Phandelver, so you can look this up if you play that adventure. It's the innkeeper at the Stone Hill, and it's just so close to Toblerone that I never remember it, so he just became Toblerone. Okay. That's essentially what happened to that character.
I didn't know if like you were trying to make a reference to the chocolate or not.
Well, I am now, because that's what I remember. I don't think I've ever had a Toblerone. I just know that I have an innkeeper in my game named after one. You could say, look at it this way. It harkens back. Maybe he has some relation to the Klondike bar, way back in our original game.
I feel like that was a whole skit you were making.
That was a whole thing.
That was
an entire session for one joke.
The session was just for that one joke.
It was.
But that reminds me. My brother and I. So there was this American Japanese co-op to make this really weird anime on Netflix. Like it's like anime, but it's also Western because like there are a lot like they shot it like the main character is Will Smith's son.
Okay.
By the way, he's not a very good voice actor, but it's really weird. But like just a lot of the things like he gives like the girl he likes giant Toblerones all the time.
What's the name of it?
Neo Yokio. It's supposed to be like Neo.
You're gonna have to send me that spelling so I can find it.
Yorkio.
It will be in the link dump. I put all this in the link dump so I can usually remember it.
It's really weird.
I have such a backlog. Like I've been trying to get back to Game of Thrones to watch that, and then I wanted to finish Death Note, and then I want to finish.
You should finish that though.
I should finish. I spend all my time editing the podcast because I wait until Thursday night to film them.
Well, you said you had a good reason for that one though. Like you weren't just you weren't procrastinating. It was more like I want to do it with these people, and they're not coming, so I got to just do it.
Well, yeah. So I'm trying to branch out to have more people on, and that's the whole thing. Like LA's coming in December, which is something I want to talk about, and then I think I'm having two. Hopefully, Mark and Hannah should come on, which that will be a big help. Is just having more of a revolving set of characters, even if it's not like we do A and then B and then A and then B. It's still just like this means that if one person can't make it, here's an additional pool we can pull from. Or say what I'd like to do is I have no issue being on two like back to back. Like if I did one Saturday and I did one Sunday, that would give me the maximum amount of time to edit both. So that'd be nice. But I definitely feel like if you already don't have like a ton of stuff to talk about because you had like school or work the entire like last 2 weeks, then it would suck to be like, well, I talked about everything interesting that's happened yesterday and we talked for an hour and a half. So what I say? So yeah. But I'm trying to improve a lot of stuff, hence like also this better layout, which if everything worked, we should have a wide shot. So I'm going to say, hey, wide shot. You're supposed to wave the wide shot. Thank you. Amateurs. So that's actually been something I've been wanting for a while is the wide shot because it just helps tie it all together. And I can make a pseudo wide shot, which is what I normally do, where I just essentially put our shots side by side, but they're in order. So if I'm looking at you, I look at your photo. Mm-hmm. It's not quite the same. And I think the nearest I came before that was actually the very first episode with the cake. We kind of have a pseudo wide shot, which is good because then when we do stuff like throw around like the streamers, you can see all that. That doesn't work on like these cameras because we're fairly zoomed in. So
might not even reach the person.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. If you have a dud or you just don't know how to open the streamers.
Those streamers are shitty.
Yeah, the poppers. I am still finding those. I think literally last 2 weeks ago, I was walking up my stairs into my apartment and I saw one like on the first floor of my apartment building. Like, I know exactly where that's from and that is my fault. But at this point, like,
That was like 3.
yeah, that was like 3 months ago. And I just randomly found a streamer. It's not like it's been there for 3 months. Somehow it lived in my apartment for 3 months and then got out. Or like when I moved this couch, I thought I cleaned well, but when I moved this couch, I found so much. And I only bought like 6 streamers, but man, do they fucking fill an apartment. Like I threw one away like this morning. It was over there. It's like, where did it come from? Where? Like I've not opened up, but like taken the cushions off all my couches, moved everything, vacuumed, like look between, and still they come from somewhere. It's like glitter. It's just, you can't get rid of it.
How do you know Jamie's not secretly fucking with you?
That might be the case. I think she'd have to
might-
live with it too if she came over. It's
Right, but like when she comes over, like she hides it somewhere.
It's going to be a thing when I move out of this apartment. If you help me move, you're going to find one. I guarantee it. You're going to be like, oh, this was under a floorboard.
At least one.
At least one. It's going to be, and my parents are going to be like,
Under a floorboard?
why
Wait,
not? They're
what?
everywhere. People are just going to find it years from now, like, what's with this one little streamer? It's like, well, I have video evidence exactly where it came from, and it's worth it. So, yeah, take that. But, so Ellie's coming in December, and I have a couple things planned to, like, try and film a bunch with her. And one of the things is one thing I wanted to see what you thought about is back in this September, not December, that hasn't happened yet.
December?
Yeah. So all the Dead Rising games take place like in the same week or so, like December 20th. So I wanted to.
You mean in September sometime?
I think they're literally around like the 16th to the 25th, like that specific time period. At least 1 and 2 are.
Well, except 2's years after.
Yeah, but it's the
So
same.
you say it's like
Same date in the
same
years
calendar
later.
time,
Yeah.
not same year.
Yeah, obviously, I guess Dead Rising Choppy Drop counts, but obviously Dead Rising, the spin-off games don't because they happened before and after too. Case West and whatever.
Okay.
And I don't know about Dead Rising 3, but I think 4 does. No, 4 doesn't because it's around Christmas. I don't actually know when 4 happens. It's vague.
It's right after. Right after
Black Friday.
Yeah.
I should actually play that game again. I want to play it. I do like that game. But what I wanted to do is
So that'd be November.
I wanted to start on the day Dead Rising 1 starts. Like either the actual game or the outbreak, because they say specifically. And I was wanted to take time off, and I wanted to literally sit down and play every Dead Rising game in order from start to finish. So like we start 8 a.m. I think it's 6 a.m. or something. I don't know when the actual game starts. 6 a.m. Dead Rising 1, go, and we don't stop until we beat Dead Rising 4. And just boop, 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 chop till you drop. Dead Rising Case 0, Dead Rising 2, Dead Rising Off the Record, Case West, Dead Rising 3, Dead Rising 4. And maybe you could like sleep, but I wanted to do like a big thing.
Maybe sleep.
But it didn't work out that time. But what I want to do, I
Are you
think...
talking like speedrunning though? Or what?
Well, you can't really speedrun, but you'd want to. We'd be skillful.
Well, you can't. Theoretically, you could speedrun.
You can technically speedrun all of them. It's just that it's not very interesting.
Yeah.
Because all Dead Rising 1 speedrunning is you avoid loading screens. Because that's technically the only thing you can do. Mm-hmm. So that kind of sucks. But for Chop Till You Drop, you could speedrun, as well as Dead Rising 3 and 4. So.
Why 3 and 4?
Because 3, you just have to beat all the missions. Like, there's points in 3 you have to wait, but you don't have to wait the full time like you do in 1.
You don't?
No. There's definitely a point where you're like, you can end the game now, but I had like a day left when I played it. That I could still just like run around. Like there are points.
I guess it's true.
There are points where like, just wait for, I don't know what Rhonda, whatever your person is to like make something. There are those, but I think it either advances the time until to a certain point when it starts that, and then you do the waiting, or it just starts. I don't know. But I definitely know if you're fast, then you don't have to worry about it. I did the thing again.
Stop that.
I know what it is. It's I don't know. I'll have to look at that later. So anyway, what I want to do when you are in town and Ellie's in town is I want to do something like that.
Okay.
And it was actually essentially a guy that pitched this idea. It's like, what I want to do is I want to do 7-Day Survivor on the remaster. So that'd be 14 hours, assuming we don't die, which I'm confident I won't because I'm actually pretty good at that game. And in between, because there's a lot of downtime, we just fill it with like some trivia, call-in, skits. So like I want to make, one of the things I want to do is I want to make all of the juices that you can get in Dead Rising 1. You like
In
mix
real
two.
life,
Yeah.
you mean?
Yeah. And now, given I would make them
Not
with
the ones that make you throw up.
the
though.
best. No, I'd make those too, but I would make it with the best possible combinations. So like, I think you could make like there's some good ones like Quick Step, the one that makes you walk fast. That's like just ice cream, or it's like ice cream and yogurt.
So to make them look like them.
No,
but
yeah, I
not-
want to actually use the things, but there's some like you can make the randomizer the one that throws up. You can make it with like, God, what's a good example? Like basically any two random items that are not ideal, but you could deal with. So I don't know off the top of my head, but like, I don't know. You could probably do ice cream and let's say, I'd have to look at the list. There's definitely some other like cold drink you can mix with it. You could do that, and that would be fine. I wouldn't necessarily make the worst one, which would be the fact that you could mix vegetable oil with anything. You could mix vegetable oil with rotten meat. Not going to do that one,
Yeah,
but I think
might-
it'd be kind of fun to be like, that's pretty good, Or just like, what's this one? Oh, it's what's called nectar, the one that gives you the creamy. What's it made of? It's literally just orange juice mixed with orange juice.
Yeah.
Like that's a totally also an option.
Yeah.
But I want to like color code it and tell you after the fact. So it's like, oh guys, found this is just orange juice. It seems like it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then just a bunch of other stuff. Like I'm gonna do some trivia. I'll do call-ins,
I never.
bunch of stuff like that. Because there's a lot of downtime in 14 Days Survivor, 7 Days Survivor.
I never understood why it was called the randomizer,
Because it gives you a random effect.
but it's not a random effect.
No, it's a 50% chance that you throw up, and 50% chance you get the effect of another juice.
Oh, I thought it exclusively made you throw up.
But I don't know why you would ever use that. Like, so few people use the juices anyway in that game. Like, they're powerful, but like, best use is in the food court Carlito fight. You run there, you grab the fish in the pond on the way there, and then you go make 2 ice creams to make a quick step, and then you drink it, and you run at him, and you slap him twice with the fish, and he dies. That's my speedrun strat for that fight. And it is great. The fish is OP. It's great. Or I was amazed, like,
What made them decide to use the fish that way?
it's just a joke, yeah. Like, I don't know. Just a joke. It breaks super fast. It breaks in 2 hits, but it only takes 2 hits to kill him. Or you can just like hoard a lot of fish, and it's actually not that bad as a weapon. So there was the time like way back in my channel's history when I did the Dead Rising 1 master run, where I would just like I'm just gonna try and find clever, great ways to beat bosses. And that was one thing that came of it was like, hey, this is a really good strategy. You need nothing to accomplish this, but it's pretty good. The other one that
you need nothing.
so like you don't have to like go and unlock the Mega Buster or go do a because a lot of people will say like if I post a bunch of guides on how to kill the psychopaths and like everyone would comment like why don't you just go get the Mega Buster or why don't you get the mini chainsaw in the book? It's like, well, 1, that video's always been made. 2, if you're coming to see this video, you don't have those.
Right.
Like no one wants to be told just restart the game and do better. No one wants to be told that. But there are points where if I said like if you have literally nothing in your inventory and 1 health, you can go do this right now and beat Cletus.
What was the criteria to get the Mega Buster again?
53,000 kills. 53,545 kills.
Oh, it was the genocider. achievement.
Yeah, zombie genocider.
Okay. There was an achievement for killing the helicopter, right?
Yeah.
And that was
That one's super.
dumb.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, it's actually like weirdly well hitboxed. So you're meant to aim at the rotor on the top or the back to deal damage. Nothing
the
else deals
pilot.
damage, but you can kill the pilot in 1 headshot.
Right.
So if you can land that headshot, which is really hard, because every time you shoot, Frank's like, stop, aim forward. Okay, now start dragging you up, and by then the helicopter's like rockets, rockets, rockets.
Yeah.
So it's not bad. It just takes forever. I like when I did it on the remaster. It was just like I'm just gonna take 8 machine guns and I fill the rest with juices, and we're just gonna make it work.
Wait. How many inventories could you have?
12, I think.
Okay.
It's a lot. So especially like Dead Rising 2. In Dead Rising 2, you can just be invincible, especially if you want to take the time to unlock everything.
Well, and then 4 you get like all the range, then all the melee, and then all the.
I actually really like 4's inventory system. I mainly like the fact that they moved food away from it, because then it didn't feel like you had like I didn't like choosing between them, because then it just felt like food always won. Like I always want 1 gun and then just a ton of food, which I thought was kind of boring, because then I wasn't really risking anything. It just got annoying to fight stuff. So, but then if you haven't played it, Dead Rising 4, they added a new difficulty, 2 new difficulties, and the highest one I thought was really fun. I beat it level 1 melee only, and it was actually a blast.
Does the Suckmaster 3000.
Still wrecks. Did not use it in my melee only one, but it still destroys. Like I made a very small video about that. It's just like oh, it just destroys bosses, and I would go into multiplayer and do that, and then you would see like throw it out, and everyone would watch it just destroy the boss, and then everyone would be like, I want that, and they would go up and steal it from me. It's like, god damn it, like what? I don't care because I can make another one, but still, it's like you're being a dick. You know you're being a dick because you think like, oh, he's got a really good weapon. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna get kills with it. It's like fucking Borderlands. People would always come in like try and steal all the loot.
Yeah,
and all the time like I'd go online and you like kill a boss, and then people would run up and be like, I grab like all these white guns, like I got him. It's like, well, I know you're doing that because you want to like not miss out on the loot, but it's clear you're not even looking. You're spamming X. It's just, you're being a dick. Fuck you, random Xbox gamer.
See, I felt bad because when we would like do like the big bosses where you needed like all 4 people.
Well, I soloed them.
Like, I felt bad because like I would run in and like I'm gonna pick up everything I think is potentially good as I can because I know everyone else is doing that. And then afterwards, when it was like me and you and someone else, like, okay, so this is what I got. Now let's see what we can. Who wants what?
And that's a better way for it. It's actually, I wish like there was more games like Borderlands or even like Destiny now where I had a good group to play with, because like what I feel like is even more fun than leveling like a character in the game yourself is like having a squad. Like I love that in Destiny 1 where it's like, okay, we need to improve our squad's DPS. Or Ellie, we are going to go to get you that rare sniper rifle. Like, that's our job. And it was fun. Or like, we got to get you through the raid. Like, like doesn't matter if the rest of us die. You got to make it. Like that, I love that. Because I don't know, it's like really like a scenario, but it's fun and you can just like mess around.
Yeah.
So.
And also it's kind of excuse for like some of the ones that require doing special, like unique quests. It's like, oh, it's going to redo the quest again because you have no reason to do it otherwise, and it's hard to do it unless you like restart your character.
Plus, it's fun to run around and be like a god. Like I would sometimes help people level in Borderlands because they would like just message me while I'm streaming, and I would show up with like the infinite regen grenade that one shot stuff, and I'm just like, oh, you're having trouble? Let me get that for you. Like
the infinite grenade.
It was the lightning bolt grenade from Tiny Tina's DLC.
The one that it would
regen because they all regen, and then that one would just arc to the nearest enemy.
Yeah.
So if I'm like level 70 and I go into like a level 40 game, it's just everyone die because it goes through like in the environment. So it's just like you all die, and guess what? By the time more enemies spawn, I got more grenades again. and then I love my Borderlands build because then I literally had I think 200% movement speed. So I was just like flying through the air invisible, being like zap 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 because it would like it doesn't just like turn off your invisibility at 0. So
it doesn't?
Yeah, grenades don't. So it'd be like, kill one guy to extend it. One guy. It was awesome. It's like some of the most fun I had in a game, just because it's like, oh. And the other guy's like, that was awesome.
What I loved is you did enough damage over like the enemy's health in like a single hit, they would explode. And, like
they just give.
They just give. And my thing would be like, oh, you just run around, you melee, like you hit them with your knife, and they go.
So I'm gonna do some plugs. So if you're watching this or listening to this, I have a audio version of this available over on Google Play or iTunes. And I also have video versions available at www.taken4grand.com or youtube.com/taken4grand. And in addition to that, if you go to my personal site, that's where the link dump is. So that the game Andrew talked about, you'll see a link to that. Any other topics, I link all that. It makes it really easy to see what we're talking about. Also, one of the other features that's there is you can ask us questions, which I actually have pulled up on the tablet, and we will answer them. So, Andrew, what was your favorite movie as a kid? Like, what was the one movie when you were like 6 you would just rewatch? Is it Bionicle?
I watched that not too often. I think it would probably be Star Wars.
Star Wars? Is it a specific one? Or like, did you only watch like Return of the Jedi, or would you always watch all 3?
I actually can tell you specifically, I really liked New Hope, and I really liked Return of the Jedi. Was not a very big fan of The Empire Strikes Back.
And that's the second one.
That's the second one.
Okay.
That's also probably one of the better ones, or the best one. I mean, you can argue stuff, but the other, like, Empire Strikes Back is very good. I just didn't like it as a kid.
I would have loved to almost have been like alive when they like and conscious enough when they came out to experience it, because I feel like that's something that like you watch it now and it's just like a movie. You watch all 3 in one go if you had never seen them. Mm-hmm. But it must have been a very interesting environment to be in, to like have liked the movies and then have no idea what 2 was going to be, and then to actually watch it and be excited. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I had watched it as a kid but didn't really remember it or like, I don't know, internalize it that much. So then I never got that point where I would sit down and it's like, oh, I fully experienced it.
Well, that's what I've been
A lot of
feeling
movies like that.
Like with the new Star Wars movies coming out. Like New Hope, or Rogue One, The Force Awakens.
I haven't seen Rogue One yet, even though it's on Netflix.
I have it. Wait, it's on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh.
There goes your weekend.
Well, I've already seen it in theaters twice and own it. But I actually haven't watched the owned version. I think my mom bought it, so I don't personally own it. But yeah, Rogue One good.
I think so for me as a kid. If I had to pick one, I think when I was like 6, the one I would always watch was The Fox and the Hound. You ever seen it?
I did. I have.
I would watch that all the time.
Is that what the bar is? That named after that Fox and Hound?
I don't think so. There's a bar by us called The Fox and the Hound. I don't think so. But maybe. I think the name comes from something else.
Okay.
Doesn't it reference, like, isn't there like a famous like hunt where they have like a bunch of dogs and they go to specifically chase foxes in England? Isn't that a thing?
Well, I know they typically use dogs to hunt things, and foxes would be something you would hunt.
I just feel like it sounds like something that was like a Charles Dickens book or something, and that was the title, and then that's what they're both referencing. That's what I would have to guess. So tell us if we're wrong. So
it's just Fox and the Hound is depressing.
It is, but as a kid, you don't get sad. It's like, he dead.
He did.
I don't even know if I remember the ending.
I don't either, but I just remember that they were friends, and then later the dog hunts the fox.
Yeah, that's the entire premise, right? Yeah. One of the things I hate about Netflix is they don't have a ton of Disney movies, which makes sense because Disney's trying to do their own streaming service. But they have, they're going to pull off a lot of their own stuff and make their own.
Is that so that they don't do the from the vault things anymore? Or?
I think they might still do that, especially for like a physical release. But it's essentially clearly they have enough like media they can do it. Like people are going to buy it and watch it.
Disney's becoming this behemoth that may not be able to be killed.
Disney's already was giant, right?
Well, right.
They own like a bunch of stuff that's completely unrelated to the rest of their media.
Yeah, Disney's like the real Illuminati.
Except instead of it's speed.
What?
Hold on, can I do like a close zoom? I have a Disney mug right now.
I thought you were like spilling on yourself there for a moment.
A little bit, yeah. That's why I wear a black shirt. But no, I'm drinking coffee at 6 p.m. at night because I know I'm going to be up editing this podcast.
Is it only 6 p.m.? God damn.
I have no idea. According to this, it's 4 o'clock. So let's go with that. It's
what? Why?
It's 4 o'clock because Ellie used this in California. That's why.
Oh,
it's off.
I was gonna say, but like she's in Florida. Oh, right, but she was.
Ellie, you're screwing us up. Stop it.
Fuck this.
Ellie's favorite movie she'd always watch a kid was fucking Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That was a good one.
With Gene Wilder. Yeah, she ruined the VCR tape because she watched it so many times.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Because it's just like rewind, rewatch. Remember like those like white plastic cases that the VCR tapes came in?
I hated those boxes.
Everyone hated those boxes. Cancer. How are they cancer? Would you rather have the sleeve?
The sleeves were better.
Sleeves were cheap.
I feel like the plastic was cheaper.
I feel like it was mainly on Disney films where they knew like this is going to be handled by a kid. It's like this can be dropped because it's all essentially cushion, right?
Yeah, it took so much space.
That's VCR in general.
Yeah, but
now I have fucking 4 terabytes. They're like this big.
You basically doubled the volume of.
That's the point. It's insulation, so it doesn't bounce around, right?
I don't know.
They double the volume of the case, so the movie sounds better. Because they doubled the volume. Anyway, not cutting to that. So, yeah. How about you, before we do our next question, do you have any topics you brought?
Not really.
I had a whole bunch I would say it for when Jamie was on, but she sadly isn't. I have big plans. Channel's been fun. I've been doing a ton of streaming, doing a ton of Sherping on Destiny 2, which is like...
I saw you were streaming you Sherping the other night.
The other night. That was a really good one. I had like 5 people watching. We were doing the Prestige Nightfall, which is really hard this week. It's the one where it's Savathun's song, the Hive one, where you have to shoot the oracles. That one's really hard.
I still have to do prestige something.
Yeah, that's really easy. We can do that after. No, not after. I have to podcast edit.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. We can do it this weekend. It's not usually that bad most weeks. But I want to talk about Shirping. So Shirping is essentially, I'll just go on LFG, which is like the looking for group, and I'll be like, hey, I know how to do this. I will teach you. Don't be a dickhead. And I should have put that because you get a couple dickheads. And me being the teacher, I'm like, oh no, it's fine. It's fine. But I totally like, if you ever wipe, you get the stat screen. That's like saying, this is how much damage you did. This is like how many people you killed. And it's really nice when it's like the dude who, like, let's say we're doing Callus, the final boss. Oh, like fucking like shithead, make bad guy. I was going to say something else. His DPS was, he did 200,000 damage. And I'm over here, 1 million. Fuck you. No, it wasn't like, it was, yeah, something like that. And it's just like, screw you. Or like, there was one guy that like set me off where he would always start the encounters like early. So I'd be like mid explanation. He's like, let's just wing it. And he'd like shoot the cup. And it was like, we made it. So it was fine. It's like, yes, we made it. It would have gone on way smoother if you didn't. So, God, it's frustrating. And then one of the best parts about having like a clan now, because when I have a clan I do the raid with, is I'll go in the clan chat after and we'll just like shit talk. Can you believe that kid? Or they were like, Brand, what the hell? The guy's name was Taku or something. And I kept calling him like Taco in the heat of the moment. And he was like getting annoyed. And like, I didn't mean to, but I kept saying Taco. Like, God damn it, Taco. Sorry. I don't know what his actual name was, but he's like, I'm not Taco. But I kept saying Taco. So it's been a fun experience. Or just like, like getting to know people. Or like the main thing I like is I enjoy raiding in Destiny, but it always takes forever. Or you always like don't really understand it. But with Shirping, I actually know everything and it's streamlined. Like we did, I think we did an hour and a half the other day for the entire raid, and it was like, fuck yes.
Wow.
It's nice when it's not like 5 hours of Vault of Glass, because then it's just like, why am I doing this? But yeah, you need to get on and play.
Have they fixed the issue with the right barrier?
No, but the raid is completely broken if you want to not fight anything. You don't have to. Like, someone found a glitch where you basically can unspawn all the enemies in every encounter, including Callus, and then you just kill Callus.
Wait, what?
Yeah. You can just despawn all the enemies.
You despawn him, but you still
You don't despawn him.
Oh.
The bosses are still there, but all the ads don't spawn. So you just wipe. And then someone found with the PC release, they found a glitch where you can get infinite ammo with the Wardcliff rocket launcher. So there's a video of a dude walking around with 700 shots in it. And it doesn't fire any faster, but he's like boom, 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 boom. And he has like this ridiculous DPS on Callus because they did it. And that's always been glitched, but now it's even glitched further. It's a whole thing. So
how do you despawn the enemies?
It's like you have to... There's a point where you come back from that other like side void dimension, whatever, and Callus has that attack that wipes everyone, and you gotta take down a shield. Mm-hmm. It's like you let that go off, and someone leaves right as it kills everyone or something. And when you spawn back in without that sixth person, none of the ads spawn, and then they rejoin, and still no ads spawn. And then so you just kill the Scions, you just do the whatever, but you won't die because there's nothing else.
What about so in the Void Realm, the counselors will spawn, but not the
annoying asses up off. Yeah. So or only like the floating Scions in the Void Dimension spawn, not the ones that actually launch you.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's trivial, apparently. So our group doesn't do it, but I hear a lot of people on LFG like that's the only way they run it. But they released Prestige and Challenge mode, and the rewards aren't great, but I want to do at least one run of those to say I did it. So we'll see. We'll have to do some. I've been having a blast because I like coming in Destiny 2. Like in Destiny 1, I joined like in the Taken King, like year 3, and I was like, man, I want to do stuff in this, but I'm so far behind. It doesn't feel like it matters. So with D2, I was like, I want to be that guy. I want to know all the raids. I want to know how to do all this stuff. I want to be decent. And like, yeah. So that way, like when I edit, I'll like play Destiny or say I'll just do a ton of stuff. Like there's a lot of times like when I'm editing the podcast, when I have more time, I won't do it tonight, is I'll just like go where there's a public event and I'll just like wait for it to start. Okay, controller down. Like next one's gonna be 15 minutes. Okay, I'm just gonna edit for 15 minutes. Next one. And it's nice because it lets me like cram in a lot of like game time for stuff that I want to do without actually, like doing nothing for 2 hours. So I'm all about that. Like It actually annoys me that my desk is so far behind because now I used to like when my old apartment where my desk was just in my bedroom, I would constantly be like, "Oh, I died. Fold laundry," or like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go vacuum half of my room while I'm dead," because it was just like, "Hey, I can just get shit done." So yeah, you should submit some questions. Do you know how to do this? You don't have an account. I looked
For what?
for my website.
Oh,
you
shit,
cannot,
no.
You can't submit. You don't need an account. It's just it's a feature. So I turn it on because that lets me track things if I want to, or I can like authenticate. But yeah. So next question, Andrew, is when you're sleeping every night. You go to bed.
Wait. This is someone submitted a question.
These are mine.
These are your questions.
Yeah, but you're free. Anyone can. You can even like specify like who you want to answer. So
Okay.
someone said like they could submit Andrew. How many inches were they? And then you would answer like I don't know, like 12 feet. I don't know.
What?
On your the story you had last podcast. Probably the
Oh,
ACC.
oh.
That's gonna be like your calling card.
Oh God. Okay.
I'm gonna make it if it's not. So every night, go sleep. In general, how would you describe your dreams? Like, do you have a certain like dream you always like have reoccurring or a certain style?
I don't know. That's a rabbit hole.
It's a rabbit hole. Oh,
a rabbit hole.
That's a rabbit hole. We'll keep it safe for work.
My brother, though.
You dream of your brother.
Well, he's been in a few of my dreams, but he has real fucked up dreams. Like, I think you should have my brother on
We just gotta
sometime. He's got he tells stories very in his unique way. But he's also I don't know how much you've interacted with William the last couple of years, but he's a real pissant now.
Not too much. Been busy doing the whole podcast thing, so I'm a bum and I stay in all the time because it's like, what are you gonna do? It's actually a problem because like I don't want to be, like I don't want to sound like I don't know, lazy or don't do anything interesting. But a lot of times it's like, what are you gonna do tonight? I am going to edit my podcast for like 6 hours. Like that's what I'm gonna do, and it's not 6 hours of complete boring work. Like it's funny and I'm interested and like I do other stuff. I clean my apartment while I do it if I can, but it is like. What did you do over the weekend? I did this. I made a photo of us as playing cards, and then I talked for an hour and a half, and then I watched myself talk for 2 hours. That's what my weekend was. That doesn't sound good in a conversation. Like, because you can just imagine, like, you tell it, someone's like, cool. I took my dog for a walk.
You take my dog for a walk when I get home.
Maybe we should have your dog on the podcast. That's one of my backup ideas. If there's ever a case where I can't get anyone, is I was going to have a podcast with my beta fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, just bring him on. Like, oh yeah, what do you dream about, Mr. Smee, the beta fish? And just like zoom in and just like glub glub glub. Fascinating. That is fucked up.
Or you just like goes under the log.
That's what he would do to me. Where he's just like, I'm not gonna look at you. He doesn't even like me. Not like he like actively runs away. He's just like, I'm not gonna interact with you unless he wants food, and then he'll come out. But he's dumb. He's really dumb. It's like he knows he.
How long do beta fishes live?
I have no idea. But he's like, I think he's like 2. Yeah, because I got him before this apartment. I think he might be 2. But I don't know. I could have him for like the next 14 years. Do you know what animal lives really long? Is parrots. Apparently, like every parrot outlives its owner. Did you know that?
Wait, what?
Parrots live to be like 90 years old.
I was not aware of that.
So that's a big thing. Like if you get it as an adult, your parrot will probably outlive you.
Well, you'll die before your parrot.
Yeah, that'd be a better way. It doesn't. Hopefully, you live longer than 90. You know.
Yeah.
But your parrot might. I want to see a percentage of how many parrots have seen their owners die. Because if they're gonna live longer, then a good percentage are like, he's dead. Fuck.
And they're just stuck in the cage.
Yeah. And they wouldn't know because the parrot could be screaming, but the parrot always screams because it's a bird.
What about I can never remember how to pronounce the name. Cherokee. Cherokee. The ones that are
That
kinda
Indian
like,
tribe?
no, the ones with the white for the
Cockatiel?
Cockatiel.
Yes.
I don't know why.
I was like really confused.
I don't know why
like,
I got.
how long do Cherokee Indians live? Like, what? I thought you might be going on a weird tangent.
No,
I don't know. I don't think it's that long. I think that's like 5 or 8 years for them.
That's really short.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's less. Let's use this since I don't need anything else on this. Let me look. Cockatiel.
Cherokee.
God, cockatiel. What was it? Lifespan. Let's go with that lifespan.
Okay.
Originally, the way, if you weren't aware, listeners, the way we did this before I rearranged this room was we had a TV in front of us that was hooked up to my PC, and then that's how we would look stuff up. Like when we talk about, was it Monopoly? It's nice that we could actually pull up an image.
Yeah.
But this is my way around that, is this tablet that Ellie left. The lifespan of a cockatiel. This is not, none of this. 15 to 20 years.
Okay.
So there you go.
That makes sense.
It's
You
like
should actually look at parrots now, though.
parrots.
Now that you
Parrots are like really long lived. But there's also like specific parrots. But I don't know why they live so long.
I don't know.
I just have swipe to text. Come on. But yeah, it's like a thing. Like on one hand, I feel like it'd be cool to have a bird as a pet. On the other hand, then you have to live with a bird, because apparently they're just like loud. It's like, I'm just gonna scream all day, every day, because that's what I do. Like I think I sent you videos one time of a guy who had a cockatoo.
Yeah.
And all it was, he just like walks in the door and like, oh, what were you doing all day? And he like looks at the camera. It's like, oh, you screamed into a cup for 3 hours. Like that's what you did today with your life. You picked the cup up. And he's like, ah, and he put it down. And he's like, this is the best thing ever. And he just did it for like 3 hours. 70 to 80 years.
Damn.
Yeah. The smaller the bird, the shorter its lifespan.
I guess that makes sense. I think that's generally kind of how it is with most animals.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah, I think, but there's a certain like peak value though, right? Where like if you have like a Great Dane, that's like too big. Where it's shorter because they're bigger. But then like,
Wait,
that's
what?
just,
What?
like ideal, like I'm not good at dog breeds, but like a Golden Retriever would live longer than a Great Dane.
Which one's the Great Dane?
The really big one. Or Saint Bernard. That's another one.
Saint Bernard's pretty big. Why would...
I don't know why, but it's definitely a thing that they have short lifespans.
I think that has something to do, though, with their genetics rather than their just size itself.
Yeah, I think it's just a general trend though.
I don't know, like, because, I mean, there is a size that once an animal gets to be a certain size, it's basically impossible for it to live. Just because the cardiovascular system would just be,
Yeah.
like, impossible.
Mm-hmm. Your mom is skirting that line. I'm kidding. I had a tweet that was specifically aimed at your mom jokes, so I wanted to throw one in there. Do you ever tweet from your account? I throw your Twitter up every time. I've tweeted you. I need to make more of those GIFs. I actually really love the deal with it. I'm too lazy to go back through the podcast and like pull them out. Because a lot of them were like when someone else was talking, so I have to look at the source feed. But I think I'll do it when I go back and I put on closed captioning for a lot of the podcasts. Which, if you ever feel like you have nothing to do and you want to do transcribing, feel free to transcribe the podcast, because I need to do that at some point.
Okay.
Fun fact.
Do you ever sometimes just go and, like, for song lyrics, because you can close caption things on YouTube, just, like, see what people have done. Like, that's obviously not right, but it's in there.
Like they're trying to, and they're just getting it wrong, or they're just like winging it.
They're intentionally getting it wrong, but in a way that it sounds kind of like that. Like, one of them is, I remember that there's the song for Final Destination. Like, and someone did these lyrics, and because it's I don't know the language, it might be Latin, but they say something, and it's like it's this really weird thing, but like all together, it's oddly entertaining. Like, it's like, hurry, mama, we need booze, or we get mad and feed cheese to this cat.
Well, you've seen like the dude that does bad lip readings of movies and stuff. That's the same idea where, like, it's funny because it actually looks like that's what they're saying, or you can kind of hear it. So,
but this is the thing, is that you're just hearing, and because it's in a language that you don't understand, it kind of sounds like it.
I think I had these videos that did really well, like very early on my YouTube channel, that I always wanted to get back to. It was a cool idea. Someone I was talking about Reddit had that they would take like the source material. Like, I think I did it for Dead Rising 1 not Dead Rising 1. Dark Souls 1, God. The intro cinematic, and you rewrite it using only the 1,000 most common English words. So it just sounds like super caveman. So like instead of Nito, like the death god or whatever, it's like hard bone man. And it's just so funny to me. Because you're sitting right and I would just do a voiceover and it was just like, this is fun. Because it's the same way where it's like, I get what you're saying. And even some points it's grammatically correct, but knowing the source material, it's that much funnier. You know? I should go dig that up because it was like really early on, but I remember really liking it because just like all the dumb little jokes like that, like, or like you have to really forks like certain words because they don't quite work, but you only have a limited set to choose from, and most of them are stuff like and, you know, like, so if you have to try to recreate skeleton, that's why you have to stretch for like hard white thing man. Oh, that's the closest you can get with all the words you have without making it like really not fit the dynamics of the actual thing. I should go dig that up. I know there was a ton of those. God, I think what it was is my favorite line was, it was hard white thing man and his mans of die, talking about his like undead horde or whatever. It's like, and no, it was something like that. I just love that line. It's like, and his agents of die, because they're just like, I know exactly what you're saying, but it just came out so funny to me. So. But yeah, I think we're at time. We went a little bit over, but that should be fine. So,
Agents of Die.
Agents of Die. I'll have to send you that video if I can go find it again. It's somewhere on my channel. I always meant to come back to it if I could find a good way to do that consistently, because it is fun and it's short and it's not that hard to make them. So, plus it'd be a good chance to do like some like voiceover practice. You know, just like sit in front of a microphone, sound like Nito. I don't know. Sound like the narrator of Dark Souls 1. Sound like the intro to this show. Stuff like that. So,
what does Nito sound like?
He doesn't actually talk there, but like, I don't think he doesn't talk at all.
No, he doesn't. But he does make a lot of like energy.
He makes a lot of stabbing the ground noises
and energy noises and wind noises, death noises.
Have you beaten Dark Souls 3 yet?
I'm ashamed to say I'm at the final battle.
I thought you were gonna say you haven't started. Final battle of 3?
Yeah, like that's literally like the last. Or I think what was like I went to, there's an optional area where the dragon is.
Yeah.
That you can like plunge attack, stuff like that. But then past there's that, in that same area, there's somebody further on. I went down this weird rabbit hole because I'm like, oh, I'm the final boss. Let me go do these other things. And then I just stopped. And it's like, I don't know why. And like, again, like there'll be times where I'll play a game to death. I love it. Not as well as like a lot of people like. I just play like one game, and that's basically the only game I've played.
You gotta finish Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3. I love Dark Souls 2's DLC.
Beat Dark Souls 2.
You can beat the DLC. Oh. The DLC is top notch. Like I definitely think some points of the Dark Souls 2 DLC is definitely better than 3. Like the main game of 3.
Really?
Yeah, there's some really good stuff in the DLC. Particularly the last one I like. So yeah, play that. Do that. And then we'll raid. So
I'll beat that tonight.
Beat it tonight. You know, get good. 1 life. It's easy. Just speed run it. God, we should watch speedrunning videos sometime. That'd be a blast.
Like Dark Souls, I consider to be a hard game, a fun, fair, hard game. The fucking platforming is sometimes the hardest thing for me.
In Dark Souls?
It's like the most stressful thing.
Yeah, jumping.
Well, jumping and also not falling off of things like when they're like really thin, just like walkways.
For me, it was the jump to the merchant in Sen's Fortress in Dark Souls 1. That was always the worst because it's like you will die if you fall.
The merchant?
Yeah, you won't remember it. But there's a merchant next to the Iron Giant, and you have to jump to get to him. And it's like the most stress-inducing thing of my run is that one little jump you have to make. Just like, oh, frustrating. Yeah, but yeah, that's a whole tangent. But yeah, we should watch some speedrunning videos after this. We can watch Ocarina of Time. It'll be like, what? You can do that? You can do that? What? Or like you might even like Twilight Princess. There's a bunch of good stuff too. It's not as broken as Ocarina of Time is, but you might be more familiar with that.
probably am, even though I played Ocarina of Time more recently because I played it on 3DS.
I guess that's true. I guess I don't associate you as playing Ocarina of Time because you didn't have like an N64.
I did.
Or anything.
Again,
Yeah.
I only played it because. No, wait. I thought you played on an emulator.
I did, but I went out and made a thing to play it.
I guess it's true.
So you just didn't have access to it, or I didn't know if it was like a big deal to go back and play it. But you did play it on 3DS. That's a good game. Yeah, speedruns are great. I want to go back and play Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. That's what I want to do as well. But I don't have the time to play that long of a game.
Nope. You know what I want? Even though
I need to play 15.
What?
I need to play 15 is what I need to play.
You did buy that, right?
Yeah, I bought it when it like came out because it's like, oh, I can't wait, new Final Fantasy game. It was on sale for $20 the other
I'm
day.
set that thing up, and theoretically, you could just play my essentially version.
That's true.
But you already have it.
I need to beat Resident Evil first, and then maybe, or I could try and playing it in between. But what I need to do is I need to beat Kingdom Hearts because I'm still sitting on that.
Why do you need to beat Kingdom Hearts? Kingdom Hearts 3 is never coming out.
It's coming out. Well, I have plenty of time. I have 1.5 or whatever it is. So I beat 1. I got to play 2, and there's 2 other games in between I could play as well. I thought they announced a release date for it finally, for the PS4. I don't know. You want to play it? You want to get all my frustrations?
No.
That'll make you be like, Disney's the Illuminati. It'll make you fucking hate Goofy. Goofy is trash. No, it's the other way around. No, Donald's the fucking bad one.
Like, he's not good at combat, or he's just stupid in cutscenes and dialogue?
Combat.
Okay. Goofy's the...
I mean, he's bad in cutscenes, but any cutscene's bad when you watch it like 30 times because it's unskippable.
Disney is the Illuminati.
It's the Illuminati. Anyway, I'm just going to go on a tangent. And I don't want to start a long topic no matter how excited I am. So anyway, again, you can watch the video version of this over on youtube.com/takingthembeforegranted or my personal site, www.takingthembeforegranted.com, where I have questions you can submit as well as the link dump. You can contact us over on Twitter. I always put our Twitters and my email up in the intro. Otherwise, it's down in the description, regardless of whether or not you're on YouTube or the podcast service. If this is on a service that you, or if this is not on a service that you want it to be, let me know. I can hopefully get it on there and keep spreading. I need to try and find ways to continue improving the podcast. So one of the things I want to do is, one, make it more stable, get more people on it, and then also I want to find out a good way to promote it. Because right now, it's like I think it takes a lot to like get started on something like this because it's like you don't know who we are. It's like going on like an hour and a half commitment now to like listen to people talk about Disney being the Illuminati and, you know, Jewish dicks and all that. You know, like you're
only
thing.
One confirmed Jewish dick.
You know, well, Illuminati confirmed. So looking to do that. But otherwise, again, love to hear comments. Like actually, Mark commented on the last one about my minion nips, so that was nice. That story is out there. So it's exciting, but I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I think we still got a long ways to go before the podcast is what I want it to be. And even this like new layout is like a step in the right direction. Like setting this up is so much more relaxed than what we used to. So yeah. You got any closing words, Andrew? Bye. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. They swapped the cameras, but not the mics. My mic's going into your camera. Oh, look. I was like, it's not moving at all. What is that? Ow! It fucking shocked me. Where's? Those are sights. So, it's also dry air.